Welcome to this edition of the Banner Press Sports Corner. Thanks for tuning in on your preferred podcast or video platform. I'm Nicholas Hodel, sports writer here at the Brenham Banner Press, and we are back from our brief Thanksgiving hiatus, and that means transitioning to basketball season with all of the high school teams here in Washington County firmly in the swing of things. And joining me this week with that in mind is Brenham Cubette senior forward JaLayla Hancock. And while her numbers after 11 games are not the highest, 2.7 points per game, just under 2 rebounds and under a steal per game, she does serve as a valuable senior leader. And this year's a multi-sport athlete after her time on the volleyball team this past fall. We're super excited to have her in studio this week. Thank you so much, JaLayla, for coming in.
You're welcome.
And we'll get to the volleyball stuff in a second, but I wanted to focus in on the basketball part of it first. Just how was that transition back in early November of getting from volleyball to basketball for us? I know you haven't done that in a number of years.
Yeah, it wasn't the easiest since I took a break from volleyball last year. So it was kind of a rough transition, but the coaches made it as easy and as smooth as possible.
Yeah, and I know volleyball is one of those sports where you have a lot smaller court to work with. There's 6 of you on one side. Basketball, you're going back and forth between a much bigger court and that gym. I mean, just how was that just getting in basketball shape?
I can't say it was easy. Basketball shape, it feel like you're never really in enough shape, but it was. I made it the best I could,
Absolutely, and really too. I mean, it's a transition that you weren't quite used to because you hadn't done it in a number of years. I mean, just how did that compare to having a full preseason of basketball work to kind of get you ready for the season?
It kind of slowed me down. I had a lot to catch up on with plays and just getting back in the groove and my groove of things and how I play basketball, how my team plays basketball. So it was definitely slower than what I'm used to because I took a break off, so I was right up in it. I was always caught up on things, but this season, I was kind of delayed, asking questions. So yeah.
Yeah, and of course this year too, having to work with a new coach, and Coach Brad Evans. How has he been to work with this year?
He's actually what we really needed. He's hard on us, but not too hard. He gives us the discipline and love and stuff all at the same time. He always makes sure we're on an A game, and he wants us to know that how supportive he is of us and how he really loves us as a team.
Yeah, and of course I've heard this a number of times: defense, running, rebounding. How much are each of those three emphasis really hit on for you guys during practice?
A lot. Those are his main 3 key points, and that's what he works on us with a lot. The running part, the defense, the rebounding. His whole thing is offense will come, but if you do those 3 things, you will win the game.
Yeah, and I've seen it. I mean, defensively, let's just use the Humboldt game Monday, for example. Really good first half. You guys were up by 10 at one point. Humboldt kind of cut that in half, and you guys were kind of back in that battle where Humboldt kind of pulled you guys away. I know you've had a couple of days since to really look at that game and learn from it. Just what were the big takeaways from that game?
Honestly, just finishing. We had him first quarter, we had him second quarter, we had him in the first half, even some of the third quarter, but it's just we got to work on finishing our game and coming out of halftime, not relaxed, but coming out ready to play again, not just give up.
Yeah, and you've had 11 games to kind of work on that, and you had a really good tournament in San Antonio, but really, for the most part, outside of that, it has been kind of a rough go of trying to find a finish to a basketball game. Just, is that a mentality thing for you guys? Just what's kind of the struggles there in kind of finishing off games in that fourth quarter?
I say... last year our problem was we didn't come ready to play. This year is we come ready to play, but we end the game too early and the game's not done yet. We still have a whole second and 2 halves of basketball, not just one, and we really have to work on that.
So it sounds like improvement.
Yeah, it's improvement.
If you're coming ready to play. But really, how much is Evans just trying to instill that mentality in you guys?
A lot, actually. He really lets us know, don't worry about everybody else in the stands. Worry about here. Finish the game. You got to play basketball like you want to win. And he's really trying to instill that winning mentality on us. He always says, get used to winning because we're going to win.
Yeah. And how does the atmosphere in that gym compare to a volleyball match? Volleyball and basketball to me are 2 completely different crowds almost.
It's basketball is really more intense. The physical aspect of it. it's also, volleyball is a mental sport, but basketball is also a mental sport. Keeping your emotions intact, not letting your emotions determine your actions when the other teams try to get in your head. So it's a big difference, yeah.
Yeah, it's certainly, and I know one of the things that really has struck me about Coach Evans is all the different, euphemisms and analogies he kind of gives to basketball and really just life in general. I've heard quite a few of those already through 11 games, and I'm sure I've got a lot more to hear from him in post-game interviews. But what have kind of been one or two of those really life analogies that's really struck you so far this year?
He uses a lot, so it's really hard to pinpoint. But he also he uses them because he wants to train us up to be women, not just basketball players, but women also. And so he tries to combine basketball and life together, and he uses a lot of analogies. So I really can't just pinpoint some of them because every time he opens his mouth, it's one of them coming out.
And I'm sure you guys can't get enough of them, right? But one of the games that really kind of struck my attention was the game against Burton.
Yeah.
You guys have played. And you guys did eventually find that finish, but how nice was that to be able to play the other county school like that? It does not happen very often.
It doesn't. It's always fun when we play Burton. We basically live in the same town. They're always in Brenham, we're always in Burton, and so we know the girls real well. Some of us have trained and played with the girls before, so the competition was there. Definitely a lot of talking, going back and forth, and so I guess we really just wanted to pull the win out for our team, and we did just that.
Yeah, and I'm certainly seeing Burton varsity, Brenham JV teams play, or some other version of that sub-varsity, but not varsity on varsity. So that was a pretty cool thing there. And we have Brenham Cubette senior forward JaLayla Hancock in studio this week in the Banner Press Sports Corners because we entered December. God, it's hard to believe that it's already December.
Yeah.
And of course, that means volleyball season is in that rearview mirror. And you took part in volleyball season this year for the first time in a few years. Just what was behind that decision for you to join the volleyball team for your senior year?
Coach Whalen came to me. I had her as a teacher. She came to me. She's like, JaLayla, do you want to play? I was like, it's my last year. I have nothing to lose. So I'm ready.
Yeah, and how was that experience as a senior?
Honestly, it was actually, I really enjoyed it. Like the girls, the new team, getting to bond with them. Like I've made so many friendships out of the team actually. And that's actually not what I thought was going to go into it. It was a whole new environment, whole new everything, new sport. But I really bought into it and they bought into me and I loved it.
Yeah, so it was a very changing kind of atmosphere with them losing so many of the departing seniors. But even with all of that conversation, what didn't change was you were kind of the new girl in an already established volleyball group between varsity returners and JV coming up to varsity. Just how much did they really welcome you in?
I was kind of shy at first, but they're very welcoming. They always, come on, Jay, let's go do this. Let's go hit in the lines. Let's do this. I bought into it, and they welcomed me with open arms. Yeah,
and that's so good to hear from them in particular. Just what were kind of the favorite parts of your senior volleyball season this year?
I would say the away tournaments, the tournaments in general. The nights at the Airbnb when Coach Whalen cooked for us. Those are always fun times in the pool. Doing TikTok pranks on her and Coach Hazlitt and Coach Payne, just everything, watching them dance, laugh, just enjoying the season together.
Yeah, and certainly, Round Rock is it's always a blast for me to get to go to Round Rock that one time a year, and of course TikTok pranks. Well, they got me in on that one this year. But enough of that. Did that volleyball experience kind of make you a better athlete for the basketball season?
Yeah, I actually think so. Obviously I didn't get the playing that I wanted to, but it made me a better athlete, mentally, a better teammate, cheer on my teammates no matter what my situation is, and just be there and know that we do this as a team. There's no I in team.
Right, and just what is some of that mental stuff that perhaps you still use for the basketball season?
Well, just staying mentally focused and staying mentally strong. No matter what's going on the stands or on the bench, just focus in on the court, and no matter what, make sure you're giving your 100% all the time and buying in and believing that we can pull out any game we put our minds to.
Yeah, and certainly you guys are trying to do that on the basketball side of it too. And of course, Tatiana also with you guys in the basketball circuit as well. Just how nice has it been to kind of have someone with you for both of those sports?
You know, that's my little cousin, so I'm always with her, and it's actually enjoyable. I love that we play the same sports. We get to bond over them and, you know, have some nice family competitive, you know, since we really play like the same position in every sports. And I love having her around and having her be there with me.
Yeah, and she's been fantastic on both fronts so far. I mean, you say kind of like that little cousin relationship, like you almost must be a pretty darn proud one to see her do what she does, right?
Very proud.
Yeah, and just how tight knit is that friendship you guys have?
You know, we're second cousins, and so we're the only people in our family who are around our age group. So we were always close growing up, always begging our parents to spend the night over each other's houses. And she started playing basketball. I started playing basketball. She really started playing volleyball first. So I was like, hey, I want to do what he does. So I started playing, and you know, she would come over to my house. We'd play volleyball. We'd go over to her house, play basketball. It was always. Our bond was always strong, but sports made it stronger, you know?
Yeah, how young did that kind of start with the basketball and the volleyball?
Basketball, it really started in our Mystic Club. I would say I was around like in 4th grade. She was probably younger. You know, we both went to private school growing up. And so that really started, and then we transitioned to junior high. She came into public school. You know, and just ever since then, we've been 2 peas in a pod.
kind of the way it was meant to be, I would imagine, right? Yeah, definitely. And of course, you being a multi-sport athlete also makes you eligible for the O&E Erickson Award, when that gets handed out at the end of the year. And of course, probably a lot of great candidates for that amongst your classes. There is every class, but how much would that mean to you if you were to be the one to earn that highly prestigious award come May?
You know, it would really mean a lot if I get it. Just for the simple fact of like all 4 years of high school, I put in the work even before high school, you know, tears, sweat, blood, everything went into every sport that I played. I gave it my all. So getting that award would finally, to me, feel like my work has been rewarded.
Right, and of course, now we're also in December. You kind of put the volleyball stuff behind you, but of course, there's a whole lot of work academically, not just in the basketball court, but academically with finals and wrapping up coursework and all of that. Just is any of that kind of phasing you at this point with all the stuff? I mean, tournaments and finals. It's got to be a lot at this time of the year.
It's phase, you know, when the tournaments go, we're barely in school, and I have to let my teachers know, hey, I'll be missing this and that. And so it's kind of hard when they learn new stuff in the classroom. But you know, last season I got academic all district for basketball, and then this year academic all district for volleyball. So I try to keep my head above the water as best as I can.
Yeah, which is a really commendable achievement with what all you guys have, to be able to have that academic all district honors. And I mean, of course, me being my second year in Texas, seeing all of these tournaments in the middle of the day is kind of new for me. Like, I mean, when I grew up in Indiana, none of this stuff would have flown at all. Like, I mean, just how do you guys handle that during tournament season especially in the volleyball year where it's pretty much 3 straight weeks that you're missing Thursday and Friday for the most part?
Volleyball, it was really hard. You know, we just started the school year, and I got to email my teachers and coaches and everything, hey, I'll be out, you know, and I'm just not getting to learn my classmates and my teachers, so that was hard. And basketball, you know, it's not the beginning of the school year, we're kind of deeper into it, but it's still like missing work, especially like in crucial classes like pre-cal and stuff. It's kind of hard.
Yeah. Is it easier to navigate that at the start of the year or at this point in the year?
It's easier to navigate it through this point, you know. Like beginning of the year, I didn't really know what was going on, you know, senior year, so yeah.
Yeah, and imagine senior year, of course. I don't know if you've started checking out, I get all right academically. Right? You don't have to say that if you don't want to, but I'm sure it happens, right? With all the senior year stuff, and I know you guys are really getting into that point now of perhaps starting to look back at everything that you've done throughout your entire time in the Brenham ISD, not just Brenham High School. Yeah. Just how as that started to sink in for you, that this is starting to close in a little bit?
Yeah, it actually is. You know, junior year, watching all my senior friends graduate. Their senior night, I don't know if you've seen, but I was over there crying so hard.
I remember that.
Yeah, and it set in like, I'm next, you know, and then just I'm trying to make the most of every moment I have. You know, if my emotions take over and I get upset, I try to remember, hey, Layla, this is your last year, you know, push through and enjoy it.
Yeah, I think I remember you being a little emotional on the volleyball senior night as well. And I'd imagine that's because of everyone it all means to you, right? Yeah, and certainly. I mean, what does all of this really mean to you to be able to have the volleyball and basketball experience and to have to accompany your high school career?
You know, it actually means a lot. For a few years, basketball was like kind of my identity, you know, and then I added volleyball to that, and you add in the friendships and like just the family, the new family you make within the sports. It actually means so much. And knowing that, you know, my last time stepping on the Brenham High School court and playing is about to come up, you know, I just try to soak it all in.
Yeah, that's it's really. It's almost like you kind of have to at this point with being no going back at this point. And of course, Brenham senior JaLayla Hancock is the studio this week, and we've been talking a lot about the past and being nostalgic about it, but we got to look forward as well. Big tournament for you guys in Navasota, 6, which should be pretty solid competition games for you guys, including at the moment College Station, district opponent. You know, we know perhaps. Maybe it changes, I don't know, but I know district opponents in tournaments typically want to avoid it, but sometimes you can. We'll see how that goes. But just what's kind of the big keys for you guys heading into this tournament in Navasota?
You know, defense, rebound, and running, you know, like always, like Coach Evans says, just playing basketball like we know how to play, and the biggest one of all, finish the game, which we struggle with a lot. Just finish the game, play basketball, don't let your emotions take over, don't hold on to mistakes you made, play the game like you know how to.
Yeah, and you guys had some really quality, or at least quality close wins in San Antonio, the last big tournament you guys are at. Just what are some, like, what do you think you would hope carries over from that San Antonio tournament to Navasota as far as finishing close games is concerned?
You know, San Antonio, we did way better than I ever expected. You know, we actually made it to the championship round and faced Cornerstone Christian School, which they have some pretty solid players on their team. And leading up to that game, you know, we played some tough teams. Not saying they were all like teams we just blew out, but they were really tough teams, you know. And it was close sometimes, but I'd just say we put our head down and do what needed to be done to finish the game. Yeah,
and of course, LaPorte, Crockett, right now, College Station, Waller, Cleveland, just some of those schools you guys are facing. Is there any particular one or two you're really looking forward to playing?
You know, Waller, you know, two schools in close proximity, you know, it's always, you know, a little trash talking, a little friendly talking. Waller's got to be one of them. And I would say if we play College Station, you know, we don't want to show them everything we got, but if we play College Station, that would be another one.
Yeah, and the unique thing about this potential tournament matchup is that you guys get College Station Tuesday to open up district play. So this would be a really tight turnaround for that to potentially happen. Just first off, like, how prepared do you guys feel for district play at the moment with 11 games under your belt?
You know, I feel like we came a long way from what we started with during the summer. And I'd say with the teams we've been playing, they're not like easy teams. You know, we've been balloted with them almost winning. And so I feel like if we carry that into district, like, we can really get some good wins under our belt.
Yeah, and this district is not easy. I mean, that's been so established with the College Station schools and Montgomery schools, Huntsville coming in, and they've got a tradition over there. It's just, I mean, just how tough is this district for people who may not be able to comprehend just how difficult District 17 5A is?
You know, this district is really tough with a lot of schools moving from 6A to 5A. They're coming in the bigger schools with more talent, more girls to choose from, and so it's really hard there. And just a lot of new faces, not a lot of new styles of play. And so like Lake Creek, Huntsville, Montgomery, they're the bigger schools, and so we really have to buckle down when we play them.
Yeah, and let's not forget too, A&M Consolidated and College Station are oh so close to that 6A mark, so they are big-time schools, population as well. And, of course, you guys do lose Magnolia West to that 6A. barrier. Are you guys going to miss playing the Monogamy schools at all?
Actually, yes, they were actually fun to play. They were. I always looked at them as the same school, but they had two different styles of play. And I think it was Mag West or Magnolia that had one big that always challenged us and made us work harder for what we wanted. So yeah, I will miss actually playing them.
Yeah, and I don't know how much preparation you've done for College Station at this point, but just, what's kind of the expectation going into the opener and potentially a tournament matchup against College Station?
Mm-hmm. The expectation, I feel like, is don't freak out. Treat it like we're playing any other team. Like, play like we know how to play. Like, don't freak out. Try to do something different. Try to do something flashy. Play like we know how to play and how we've been taught to play this season.
Yeah, and Brenham and College Station is well documented as a pretty big rivalry between the two schools. Just how much does that really just add to the intrigue of the district opener coming up on Tuesday night at their place?
That definitely adds fuel to the fire, especially at their place. Even with volleyball, it was a big, back and forth with College Station and Brenham fans, and especially at their place. So carrying that over to volleyball, their fans get pretty wild. Our fans get pretty wild. So it's going to be a fun matchup.
Yeah. How many of those girls do you know between volleyball and basketball? It seems like the Brenham and the College Station schools have a lot of that intermingled with club and things like that.
Yeah. Some of the basketball girls on College Station, I know them. I played like AAU with them down in Houston, so I know their style of play and stuff. So it'll be very fun to see them play.
Yeah. Does that help you guys in preparation when you guys kind of look at any film you guys can get your hands on, things like that?
Looking at film definitely from last year and from this year. They lost some people, so it's really like they have a whole new team. They have a team full of guards, so their team is very quick, very speedy, and we just need to know how to not play at their pace, but play at our pace.
Yeah, and of course, you guys had a thriller against them to end the regular season to get into a play-in with Magnolia, and of course, you guys can beat College Station for sure, but within the grand scheme of what you guys are trying to do, that playoff drought still hanging over your heads with playing games the last couple of years, just how much does that really motivate you girls ahead of the district season to try to break that drought?
Knowing for the last 2 years we've been this close to going into playoffs and just having to get over that hump. Like this year, I feel like we all have that drive in us to get over the hump of just being in a playing game. I feel like a playing game is not enough. Like last year, we seen the boys get pepper rally for them for going to playoffs, and we were like, hey, we want that too. So I feel like that was enough like fuel to the fire to get over the hump and actually make it to playoffs, not just a play-in game.
Yeah, and really the big thing too, you've seen those boys play really well. The Waller game Tuesday night was a big example of that. Just how much motivation do you guys get from seeing the guys do their thing and to try and replicate it on your side?
We see their fans, how many people show up for their game, and so we like, hey, we want that crowd. We want people in the stands for us. We want that student section. And so it's like, it really adds fuel. Like, hey, let's turn our game up a notch. Let's give the people the game they want to see.
Yeah, and of course that game is a Brenham win.
Yes.
That's what they really want to see. Well, everyone wants to see it in the Brenham community, of course, but really just one of the last things I want to ask, with this being the senior year for you and that last go around, just what do you hope to really remember this senior season for, when you kind of look back at the year when the spring comes around and you're looking back at everything in your high school career?
For this season, I would like to look back and see us making it to playoffs, But as for my whole high school career, I would just like to look back and see how much have I grown as a player, from varsity freshman year till varsity now. How much has the team grown and how we developed and overcome challenges of losing people, losing coaches, and I would just like to see the friendships and bonds that I make and how we overcome every challenge that came to us and we play basketball.
Yeah, and of course I know you would love to top that off with making the playoffs as a senior leader as well. Just how much responsibility goes into being a senior leader of this group?
I feel like it weighs on me heavy when we lose games, even when we're having a tough game and we're not mentally there or not mentally focused. I feel like it weighs heavy on me. I feel like I always have to speak up and even be a leader when it's quiet, when it's loud. I have to just step up and take that role because I know that's what Coach would want me to do.
Yeah, and of course you and Yaz serve as the two main captains of this group. Just how much does that mean to you to be a captain of this group?
It actually means a lot to me because, basketball's been my life for a long time, and I've given all my time, all my summers to Brenham basketball. So knowing that he trusted me with that responsibility to be one of the two captains, it meant a lot.
Yeah, and of course you and Yaz do a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Yaz in the backcourt, and that's been really a changing picture with a lot of the underclassmen who've come in and stepped up, and of course the front court as well. It's one of the big things I've noticed too is there's so many of you guys contributing to the matter, and I know that's something that Evan says. He wants all of you guys contributing. Just how much does he preach that of every girl has to kind of do their part?
He preaches it a lot. There's no I in team, or one person can't win a basketball game. He says that all the time. But I truly believe that one person cannot win a whole basketball game by themselves. Even if one person has 20 points and another person has 0 points, that person still had to do something on defense. Whether it was getting a steal, talking on defense, being a leader, or just getting a rebound. Everybody does that part. It's just not everything that shows up on the stats, but everybody does their part.
Yeah, of course, there's just some things that don't show up there, and leadership's definitely one of those. And we look forward to chronicling the rest of your guys' season as we enter December and get into 2025. And oh my God, I don't even want to say that right now. Yeah. It's making me feel old, and I've got no right to feel old. I can't imagine how it makes you feel that we're almost in 2025. So we certainly thank you for hopping in this week on the Banner Press Sports Corner. Before we wrap things up, I want to take some time to share some of the biggest headlines in our latest edition of the Banner Press. Of course, these are just decorations. This is an older version of the Banner Press, and within the newer version, we got stories on the Faith Mission and Salvation Army seeking some bell ringers outside of Walmart. Of course, the classic tradition of those bell ringers. They are looking for some there, and also a good feature on one of Brenham's own, looking to train some of the younger ones as well, training them for life. So we got a real good feature on that, and of course all the sports you could possibly want on the basketball side of things, with the recap of your guys' game against Humble, as well as what both the Brenham and Burton boys basketball teams did, and also Burton football's all-district hall got several two-way players getting first-team all-district honors on that front. So you can read all about that in the latest edition of the Banner Press. Excuse me, and to receive that local information that will matter to you, you can subscribe on our website, BrennanBanner.com, or by calling 979-836-7956. Again, that website is BrennanBanner.com, and that phone number is 979-836-7956. We also want to let you know there are more places than ever to view the Banner Press Sports Corner and the Banner Buzz, our two Banner Press podcasts. Our Spotify and Apple podcast pages are not going anywhere, but we are all now also on YouTube. You can search Brenham Banner Press on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel completely free. And those YouTube videos will also appear on the Banner Press homepage. So if you kind of go, and I almost got to go closer up to the camera to show you this. You got our homepage, all our featured stories, the local news tab. There you go. Your Banner Press podcasts are now right there for you on our homepage, and we have now more places to meet you and your content needs for the Banner Press Sports Corner with me and the Banner Buzz with our managing editor, Keith E. Donkey. Again, thank you so much for JaLayla for coming on the Sports Corner this week. I've been Nicholas Hodel. Please enjoy the rest of your week, everyone.